Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie and Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. Hello, Leslie and Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Today we have our client of the Fast Track to Freedom program, Anne, with us today. And thanks for being willing to share your story with everybody today.
Oh, thanks so much for the invite. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, your story, like I was saying to you, is just so inspiring in the way that you've carried yourself as you've gone through the program and just, stayed positive, but also grounded and real and, allowed yourself to be vulnerable and really get, what you came here to get for yourself has been really, admirable. And I know that, you have a busy life. And even during this, interview, there may be some interruptions with new puppies and grandchildren, which we totally welcome because, with women, we always put ourselves on the back burner. And this is part of the reason why, it makes such a difference to actually, do something, invest in yourself and get the support that you need so you can be the best grandmother, best mother, best wife, best worker. So yeah, it's awesome. So great. If you would be willing and to just share, who you are, where you're from, what you do for a living, and then, where you were before coming to the program, maybe your weight loss history and where you're at now, that would be awesome.
Sure. My name is Ann Cordato. I am from the New York City area. I work for one of the area VAs in research. Before HPWL.
This is for permanent weight loss. Yep.
Yeah. I think I went through every possible weight loss program that there could possibly be. Weight Watchers, personal nutrition, personal trainer, personal everything, group weight loss, friends, church groups, everything. I've tried medicine, I've tried supplements, I've tried liquid diets, I've tried restrictive diets, I've tried journaling, tracking my food from morning to night for weeks on end and trying to find out a pattern of how I eat, and nothing seemed to work. So when this came across my horizon, I just looked at it as a huge difference in what was being offered. It was a different take. It was a different avenue, a different path. It was something that intrigued me, that made me think differently, that gave me different doors to open, that taught me things, that expressed different emotional connections with what I didn't even think of before. So it grounded me. It made me express my emotions that I had definitely, like I told you, put back on a shelf for maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, probably longer, because as we went back to all the mastery tools, I said, oh my gosh, 8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old. So all those type of nuances came to me and helped me grow and turned me in different directions. A couple of the books that I was reading offered new avenues too, and different ways of thinking. So every single thing and every module that I went through, I learned something, I put it to practice, I tried my hardest to do the work. And then I started to see some results. So pretty fascinating. And
Wow.
I was proud of myself. I still am, and I see it every day. So I know it's going to go forward.
It's incredible. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And I'm sure so many people can relate, obviously, to the doing every single thing and, trying your best and actually having the, you know, sincerest desire and hope to actually, make the consistency happen with losing weight and staying on track and, feeling better, especially when we value our health and we want to do the right thing. What do you remember when this came across your horizon? Like what spoke to you in a way, or how is that this deeper and what you were looking for better than any of those things, if you were to know?
Probably some of it laid a little groundwork in some of the psychology classes and philosophy classes that I've ever taken that it came to, your subconscious and your hypnosis and, dig a little deeper and you only use 10% of your brain and what is the rest doing? How is it affecting you? And, when does it rear itself? And I just wanted to look a little bit deeper because I wasn't getting results. And when you sit there and say, I'm a failure and I can't do this, and why can't I do this? I'm an intelligent person and I've tried everything and nothing is shaking from the tree. And you get very frustrated and you get to the point where you have no other direction. You want to throw your hands up in the air. But for some reason, when I read the description of this program, it was, this gave me hope. And I'm a person who I'm a supportive employment person. And when you give somebody that hope and that forum and that type of some place to discuss it and say, I have some coping skills for you. Why have you ever tried this? Have you ever tried that? And you sit there and go, no, I didn't know that was out there. So to know that something like this is out there and it's a 360 of what you've been shoved down your throat in marketing and on commercials and Facebook and, take this pill and take this gummy and take this. And you're like, how many more of these things am I going to take? What am I doing for myself? Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? So I wasn't feeling healthy. And I was going to doctors going, you have to lose weight and you have to do this. And I'm like, I'm trying, I'm doing everything and I'm not seeing any results. What's the piece that I'm missing? I'm an intelligent person. Tell me what the piece is. And then for them to just say, less food and more exercise. And you're like, tried that
Yeah.
8
Thank
times.
you so much. Einstein of that I need to eat less and exercise more. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So this
Hmm.
just it's just a new idea. Something that's been out there. Not that it's a new idea, something that came across my desk or my computer that was new, that wasn't flooded with, advertising and just made it seem personal. And I need personal when it comes to, and what's wrong? What are you thinking before you pick up that cookie? Why are you doing that? And you used to do these things. And see, that was the memory. I was active and I ate well and I interacted with people well and communicated well and was happy and joyful. And then it went away. And to actually discuss it, I mean, sure, I could have gone to therapy, but what fun was that? They weren't gonna, I've done therapy and they never gave me skills or roads or books or a community to talk to and share and listen to somebody and say, oh my gosh, I just did that. And yeah, I feel that way. And you're the same age as I am. And I don't want to get into that dress either. And all these different things that prompt you. The prompts I think are awesome. I think the mastery is awesome. The books to read, the skills to do, the joy wheel to do. I got so excited.
Mm.
Vision board, I love. Um, I'm learning my language because travel is one of my things. So I'm doing Duolingo now and I'm speaking Italian and salute, and I'm
Ooh.
having a good time knowing that these are my goals that I'm getting to. So thank you. Thanks. It's a
Wow.
real good feeling. And it's me and it's you giving me back. So for me to see myself again and be okay with it and to share it with everybody and say, and they're like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm like, con latte, cappuccino. And I'm sitting there and they're going, what are you
Cool.
doing? I'm like, eventually I'm going to get to Italy. And they're laughing and they're joking. And, my granddaughter said, oh, Duolingo, I'm going to teach myself French because I want to go to France one day. And so now it's pouring out. Now it's pouring to somebody else. And I told you, I speak to people at work and we bring in healthy food now because that was like, oh my gosh, I can't eat 3 times a day like this. We were eating large lunches and large snacks. And I was coming home to an Italian family and you can't eat like that all day. You just can't. So you got to figure it out. And it's not only you, it's what your culture is. And it's your family at work and your family at home. And how can you adjust it and make it work for you? And everybody else is just looking for something too. So when you take your practices and you put it into different areas of your life and it starts to grow a little here and grow a little there, and everybody seems to, partake in this grand scheme of, it's not you. It might be your emotion, but it might be somebody else brought those cookies in. You can next time say, why don't you bring in some fruit? And they're good with it because then they know the positivity of it. And you give them that and you say thank you. And it's a whole new world. It really is, with this, when you just let it roll into other things and you start to talk to people about what you're doing. So yeah, I love it.
Oh my God, clearly. And you're just describing it so well. Yeah. And I think, yeah, I heard a podcast with a previous client from years ago who was saying how she knew, same thing, I'm a smart person. She was like, there had to be something deeper, and when I think about, apple cider vinegar gummies and like all the little things that we can buy and all the things we could try, like, I don't know, there's just like a sense of like shallowness to those actions, right? It's just like this little, right? And then there's some of us that just have maybe like a yearning for like more depth, like you were saying, like the hands-on and the actually personalized, approach. And yeah, so just speaking to all that and yeah, how much that can be supportive when that seems to be something that's speaking to us. And I like that, yeah, the psychology background and just all the aspects, the community and all the stuff in the program. Yeah, your journey has just been so remarkable. And I'm curious because you said like you used to be social, you used to eat well, you used to da da da. Can you put your finger on like when the turning point happened, when that wasn't as easy anymore? And, how did the program
Yeah,
help you
yeah.
unpack that?
Well, we discussed it. We went through a lot when my parents passed away. So when they passed 2 years ago, it started before then when my mom had gotten sick and didn't realize she was sick for 20 years. So
Mm.
all the interaction and the readjustment and the shifting of my family and my mom and dad and trying to help them and support them in the small ways. And then it got to larger ways of supporting my sister as she was taking them back and forth to doctors, and my other brothers and sisters jumping in when they could, and everybody was all in. But it's exhausting and it's time consuming, and it plays a lot on your head, and you do keep other people at distance. So I arm's length with my husband and my kids because my parents became the focus for so many years. And work was adjusting and making sure it was flexible so I could be, available to them. So yeah, a very, very long time.
Mhm.
So when
Mhm.
I think about it and when it started, it's amazing that when just the first weekend of having a conversation with you and doing some of the hypnosis, that the minute I let myself forgive myself and get rid of the blame, um, it opened a whole new way of looking at what I was doing.
Mm.
The minute I cleared out my closet, I reorganized my life. I had stacks behind me when I talked to you on the phone. I was embarrassed to even open up my Zoom. I'm like, hope you don't see the stuff behind me because I don't see it. And then, when you start to see it and you're like, oh my goodness, this shouldn't be there. And you need to organize, you need to clean, and you need to set priorities again. It just gets all that clutter out of your mind. And like you had said, the chatter stops and the meditation calms and you get some peace and you start to look forward and the hope arises and you start to look outside the window and start to talk to other people. And it's just, a whole new different way of living your life the way you're supposed to, how you did when you were younger and you were carefree. So why am I not allowed to have that now? I'm 56. I'm allowed to say that. I don't have a problem with that. I was on roller skates last weekend. So
Woo!
I'm good. I'm good. I'm open to it and I want it back. And it's something that I'm craving it back. I deserve it back. Um, so I'm willing to share it with anybody.
Oh my
So
God. Woo! Oh my gosh, it's like so many
HWPL.
mic drops. I'm just like the emotions are just getting better and higher and higher. It's so awesome. And yes, for roller skates. I love that for you. Yeah, and I think, the Oprah just had the special on ABC this past week on weight loss and clearing the blame and the shame and all the things and, talking about the weight loss drugs and all of that kind of stuff and the impact. What I loved about something that they said was how, unlike alcoholism, where alcoholism is actually categorized as a disease, the doctor had said that weight loss and, weight issues, it's a complex issue. It's not just one thing. And what I hear you saying is, life happened. As women, of course, we're gonna do everything to put our loved ones first. And like if your parents were critical, needing your help, like that's gonna happen, but that's gonna mess with, other family stuff and, how you're able to take care of yourself and work stuff. And so it's like, how do we actually do the whole thing? And then we get into different patterns. Then maybe because of taking care of your parents, naturally there can be like guilt and shame and, fears and anxieties. And then that repatterns our way of being. And then we just are holding on to that. We don't even know it. Right. And then all of a sudden we wake up and we're in this space where we're not connected. We're not feeling our feelings. We're in, fight or flight or whatever, just to try to survive. And our weight is up. So, to actually just kind of put your hand in the air and say, like, okay, enough is enough. I need some help, to unpack what's happened in the last however many years. Um, but yeah, what people don't realize, like, I've had thousands of conversations with people over the years, and it's like consistency. I want consistency. I want energy. I want motivation back. And what they don't realize is like, to release some of that shame, that guilt, that anger, whatever could have been festering, we're not even aware of it, is the access to having enough energy to go roller skating with your granddaughter at 57 years old, or getting those connections back at, getting social again, like having everything come back. And, what would you say? Because I remember, initially it was like, oh my gosh, no feelings. And then like you just dove right into that. Like how quickly did you notice a shift after you gave yourself permission to feel and do the emotional mastery?
Well, I remember I told you I didn't want to be stuck in at work and do that ugly cry in the middle of nowhere and not be able to control myself. But it was one of those. It was a good cry, the first cry. I was at my daughter's art gallery and I was so proud of her. But this was the first time she had ever put artwork up in a gallery in Manhattan. And we walked through and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm actually here in the moment and I'm recognizing that this is an awesome thing. I'm just not floating through it and getting out and getting home as fast as I can because I have all these things to do and I'm, in this negative mindset. But it was one of those I stepped in the door and the crowd came in and my daughter's face lit up and she looked at her art and people came over to see her art and we were there and we had a glass of wine and we were speaking with people and it was just one of those, this was a really great moment and I wanted to make sure that I got it. And so the tears started to come and I was like, this was a good time for me to do that. And it wasn't an ugly cry. It was a couple of tears here and there. And I was able to give her a hug and I was like, I'm so proud of you. And it was real and I loved it. And, after that, then I started to say, even the hard ones weren't that bad. They were more private. They were more of like, the streaming in the car driving as I heard a song and I'm like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of stuff. And I cried. And listening to one of the podcasts with a woman who was discussing her grief and I cried and I said, oh my gosh, I connected so much with her that I I loved it. And it was one of those, now I was searching for the moments to cry. It
Mm.
was, read the line on the poem, listen to the song. The music came back. I was starting to listen to music because I had forgot. I shut it off. I wasn't even putting it on in my car. So music's extremely emotional and would bring me connected to so many memories that I had. And once I let that back in, it really started to not flood in, but it was a good, opening door. So
Mm.
yeah, maybe about a week or two. I think I discussed it. I was like, I don't want it to come. I don't want it to come because there
Mhm.
was so much I had put back that I was afraid of it. I really was.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah. I can relate to that myself, of just like the build up, the build up, the build up. And it's just like, and then it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm so far of not feeling any of these feelings that if I, everything's going to fall apart if I actually let myself feel the amount, of build
yeah.
up that I sense is back there. But I love that
Mhm.
you had the opportunity to have it like slowly, little tears and safety to then allow yourself to be fully comfortable with that. And yeah, my experience is like, it's like if we're not feeling our feelings, there's like such a connection that we feel with ourselves as we
Mhm.
can feel the, whatever emotion is there, emotions are just energy in motion. And so just to actually feel it and to be able to move it through can just, and it almost instantaneously can bring more energy, presence, right? You can actually be in the present moment. That is such a beautiful story about your daughter with the art gallery and actually being able to appreciate that versus going through the motions. Like that is my biggest thing for people is like how much of life are we actually, not present to? Are we just like
Mhm.
missing because we're in the hamster wheel of just get through the motions? And like for anyone listening, consider that the reason that's happening is because you're not accessing and feeling any of the feelings, which can be so beautiful,
Yeah.
and but I needed my hand held when I first had to feel them, because it was just way too scary. I literally, and I've
Well,
had
I'll
so
give you
many
credit for
clients.
holding my hand. Absolutely.
I'll give you credit for raising your hand and saying, I don't want to do this, but do this. That's literally what it was. And you did so good. And
Yeah.
yeah, just like, and yeah, what like to see, I can just see you like in the morning looking as amazing as you look right now, by the way. You look so good. You do. You look so good.
Like you do every time on your part. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
how does she look
oh my
so great all
goodness.
the time?
Oh my gosh. Well, we're mirrors for each other. But I could just see you like getting the coffee ready and like doing the thing and like doing your Duolingo. Like that is just
Oh,
so
it's so
cute and
funny.
amazing.
It's a
Like,
lot of fun.
and the power of having like a mom slash grandma in the house like that, that
Yeah.
changes the entire family dynamic. If they're, happy wife, happy life, like whatever. But like really though, the energy of
It's
the woman in the
unique.
house matters so much. What do you say? What did you
Yes,
say?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, what a testament. Okay. And then how about eating habits and, like weight? Where are you at with that now? I know that you,
So my weight hasn't budged and I'm all
uh-huh.
right with it. I'm okay with it. My clothes are feeling better. Okay. I'm getting out, I'm breathing, I'm drinking a lot more water. I don't know if I felt like I don't deserve water, but now I drink water all the time now. I don't know if that was like another thing that needed to be, switched on. I do eat better. I go for better things that are offered to me. I mean, I work within a hospital. I'm at home, it's busy, everything. We try really hard not to order out as much as we did, but when we do, we have the pizza. I'll get a salad instead, or I'll get an eggplant roll and try to pick it apart. But now I'm really focused on, how is this going to make me feel afterwards? Because I didn't realize how much of well, I don't want to say like the agony of what I was going through, but the gas and the bloating and the burping and the not being able to sleep and all was coming from the sugar and the fried food or the soda. Maybe I had a glass of ginger ale thinking that I wasn't gonna, how much it just didn't make me feel good. So now I choose not to do it because I would rather feel better at the end of the day and get a good night's sleep than sit there and be like, oh, the cookies and all, and it just doesn't serve me well. So and I
Mhm.
like the way that you put it, that whether or not it serves you, because it reminds me of the plate and the food. So I want to serve myself. So all those dynamics, that how you explain things and how the module go, I remember and I say them to myself. So when I look at food, how much am I going to have? How much am I going to serve myself? How am I going to feel after this? What
Mhm.
emotion am I coming to this meal with? I do that now as without thinking. So I'm like, oh, I'm really happy, but that's okay. And it's a birthday party. I'm gonna have a small piece of the cake. I'm not gonna have two slices. So yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of conversation in my head that isn't chatter anymore. It's more meant for me.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so just decision making from, yeah, how do you want to feel and how is this going to serve me? And, yeah, that's incredible. I love that. And I know we talk a lot in the program about like playing the long game, right? I don't know if some people that are probably listening are like, well, I don't want to not lose any weight and like, you being good with it. But what would you say to them around just how the journey looks and what you think about the future, given what you're doing now?
I've seen my future. I've done my second hypnosis. I've visualized it. I've given myself a year. I did not put this weight on in 5 minutes.
I didn't put the weight on in 5 minutes.
I
Yes.
did not.
Uh-huh.
I had three children. I have a thyroid issue. I've lost people. I've emotionally ate. I've forgiven myself for it. I've turned myself around to the point where this is my new starting point. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be where I want to be. I don't need to be a size 2. I'm a size 16. I would love to be a size 12. That's where I was my most comfortable. I was able to be flexible at that point. That's that's where I want to be, but I'm going to give myself another 9 months to do that because I'm at a good point right now. I've discussed starting new exercise programs. So from December to now, I've come from being stagnant, non-feeling, non-moving, non-connected to being moving and connected and happy and reading and learning a new language and exercising and eating foods at proper times and getting more spiritual and having conversations with my husband and having fun with the grandkids. And so, you want to do a pro and con list, I could, go on forever. So am I getting better? Yeah. And I'm proud of myself for it. And I'm proud that I accepted this journey. And I'm very grateful to this whole community because I did one-on-ones and I experienced things that I didn't know. I had conversation with Imogen and Dana. I was like, wow. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just a conversation. And she's like, how do you feel? And little words, how do you feel about it? I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. She's like, tell me how you feel about it. Like very much driving it home. You need to tell me how you feel about it. And to put a word and an emotion on something that you never even thought about or didn't want to think about, very powerful.
Mm. Whew.
Powerful.
Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, so much gold. Yeah. And it's really just that foundational thing. We talked last night around the acceptance, and like, oh, can I lose weight first and then I'll learn how to accept myself? And we talked about the photographs. And if you look back and you remember that day that you took that photograph 10 years ago, being anxious and feeling fat that day, and now how much more weight are we, extra from that photograph? And it's like clearly us being obsessed about trying to lose the weight now, and look better fashion is actually doing the opposite. It's not helping us, by any means. So, just, yeah, what I hear you saying is like you've got all the components of your life moving again. Your
Yeah.
happiness, your connection, your relationships, your, self-care schedule, your joy wheel, like all the things so that you now have the spaciousness. And that's what you're saying. Like now, first you were not moving much and then it was walking. And now you're like, all right, let's try some intense workouts. I'm kind of like curious, And I love the realism of like, I didn't put this on in 5 minutes. And it's like, that's, people want that fast spark, but how long is that actually going to last? 80 to 90% of people put the weight back on, from diet and exercise in a year or two. So,
Mhm.
we're playing the long game. And I love that you've given yourself that gift to slow down, to speed up and,
Me
just be present
too.
in life. And because you are a cool lady and you do deserve it. And you absolutely should be proud of yourself just for the way that you've done everything for yourself. So, oh my God. And thank you so much for your service. Like you said, like the podcast testimonial you heard of the woman grieving in the past made such a difference for you. Like, imagine how many people can hear this and say, oh my God, Anne is saying what I need to hear. And
I
thank you.
hope
Like
so.
changing their 100%. The way you've articulated this journey has been extraordinary. So thank you. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for your future. And
I am too.
I
And you haven't seen the
know.
last of me. I told you that. We have
Woo!
we have family things that come up, but I'm going to definitely circle back around.
Oh my God, I can't wait. We're always going to keep building and yeah, having things to keep having people's journeys continue as they always do. This never ending journey of health and well-being. So, and thank you so much for being here. Any final thoughts? Like if anybody is kind of thinking about doing the program on the fence, not sure, what would you say to them?
Jump in, and then trust the process and really just follow your lead. That was once you surrender the whole thing and you make that decision, you're in. Once you're in, do it.
Mm. Woo! 100%. The transformation happens when you just jump in and say yes. Like from there, it's like it's already done. The hardest part sometimes can be to just, yeah, take that first action. Do you remember when you booked the call?
I
Where
did. I
where are you
do. I
at?
do.
How did you find us, by the way? I don't even remember. I don't even know
I
if I know.
probably came through on a Facebook, one of those advertisements, and your smiling face came through. But you know what? No, no, no. I was in contact with you for over a year. I think I
Oh.
kept texting you, or like I was
Oh.
I was intrigued, and I was intrigued, and I was intrigued, and then I said, "No, you're gonna do it." And I don't know what voice came into my head and was like, "It's time. What are you waiting for?"
Wow.
There's there's nothing else out there. There's nothing left for you other than to change your life. So do it now.
Mm, wow.
Uh,
That's amazing. I'm so glad you did. You listened to voice. And yeah, the program truly does change your life if you let it. You cannot help but not to have it. I love that we've just come up with our process of the acronym HEAL. You probably heard me say it because I know you watch a bunch of
Oh,
the things. Maybe you haven't, but
I
like
didn't.
actually how we can lose weight and keep it off long term is like H is for the hypnosis, to get out of the hamster wheel of constantly thinking about diet and weight loss thoughts all the time.
Right.
E for heal is an emotional mastery, being
Hmm.
able to feel the feelings. A is aligning with your true self and how you want to feel and your passions, like what you like, how you want to eat, all the things. And then L is learning lasting self-care.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So the joy wheel and like what makes me feel
Yeah.
good to do good so I can stay consistent and motivated. So yeah, in that Oprah special, it was like they, talked about how it's complex and there was some good aspects about it, but it was pretty promotional about the drugs. But I also saw that, and that was something I love that you said the other day on the coaching call, was like, I can access this stuff anytime, anywhere, like for free now that I know it,
Yeah.
versus can you always access the weight loss drugs? Can you always, you know what I mean, that are going to stop working and then you're going to be right back to where we are. So,
Well, that's a portion of the work that I felt that it was my job to memorize, get all in, get that work and get it in my head. Because if I don't have my phone and I don't have, at least I have myself, and the healing process starts. And I love that heal. That's awesome. I love that. That's really
woo,
good. Yeah.
thank
Because
you.
you do feel sick.
Right.
Feel like you just, you need somebody to heal you because you're not taking good care of yourself. The health and wellness of yourself is going out the window and nobody else can do it but yourself.
Mm,
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh, I love that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yep, there'll be a lot more of that. Yeah, and for anyone listening, we actually are going to be putting out a new it's a free 2-hour masterclass that goes into detail on the heal process. And yeah, totally for free. So if you are listening live and you want that, just send a little heart and we'll make sure we get it your way. But that will be updated on the podcast, hopefully by the time this episode comes out on the podcast as well. So amazing. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you,
story.
Leslie.
Thanks for being an incredible client. And for anyone listening, if you're ready to jump in, follow Anne's advice, then just go to our website, hpwl.co, book a call, and we'll get you started. Thank you so much. And we'll see you for the next episode.
Thank you.
If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.